We're so excited to share with you our spring picks for 2026. Before we get started, we just want to give you a warning that there will be some spoilers for Easter in here. So if you'd like to keep it special for your kiddos, please make sure not to listen with them. Now, let's get started with our episode.
Welcome to Here for the Story. I'm Sherry.
And I'm Lauren, and we're coming to you from the quintessential small town of Oakdale, California. This is Here for the Story, a cozy podcast about books, creativity, and connection.
Each week we'll be sharing what we're reading, what we're working on, and chatting with authors, creatives, and fascinating people from our little corner of the world and beyond.
Today, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite spring books, ways to bring books into spring traditions, and a few ideas for making reading part of your family time this year.
And we are excited to dig into it. But before we dive in, let's check in. What are you drinking, Lauren? And what are you reading right now?
Ooh, okay, this is a fun one. So today I am drinking our last podcast you gave me the Velvet Hammer. What are they? Elixirs. And they're just fun electrolyte powder blends. So I was coming in this morning with water and then I was like, oh, I've got one of these. Honestly, this is the drink I need at 38 years old right now because I need like extra nutrition at every corner of my life, every facet of my life. And I've been trying to drink more tea, been drinking less coffee, and it makes me drink less water. But when I had this the other day, I was like, I gotta drink my water. So I don't know if it's subconscious or what, but I'm excited. So today is the pink lemonade, which I will admit is tiny bit salty, but it definitely it's good. I've had so many powdered drinks in my life. I used to work for a protein supplement company. So trust me when I say I have drank many drinks. This is good. And it's fun because it's glittery.
Yeah, and it has the shimmer.
I'm very picky about powdered drinks or drinks in general. Yeah, like if something has certain sugars in it, I'm like, I'm not going to drink that.
Yeah. Well, and they have 3 elixirs. The one that you have is I think it might have 2 grams because it is a hydration. So it's supposed to have electrolytes, which is just good for your body. Yeah. But the other ones are 0 sugar.
It says organic coconut sugar, some citric acids, crystallized lemon, mica base, pearlescent, some vegetable juice. Yeah.
It's funny. This is not sponsored, by the way, but we are really here for it. And I posted on my stories recently, which by the time that this airs, it'll be long gone. But the CEO, the founder of Velvet Hammer, has a really cool video up about the name behind Velvet Hammer and the idea behind the whole drinks, elixirs, and in the fantasy realm too. And it's really cool. I'm really behind her message, and I think they have a really great company. It just launched in February of 2026. So it's very new.
That's awesome.
So definitely check it out. Female founded.
See, this is why it's good. And I'm going to go off on a mini tangent right now.
Yeah.
It hasn't been bought by a major corporation.
Yeah.
So they're still staying true to their formula. And I love it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Velvet Hammer. I hope you never sell out.
Same. Hard save.
Yeah.
So what are you reading?
Okay. What am I reading? So I'm finishing up the mashup because when this comes out, I'll probably already be done with it, but this is a pre-recorded episode. So finishing up the mashup, and then I'm actually reading, and this is going to tie into it, is a book called, I'm going to pull it up because I'm not going to remember. It's one of my flower books. So it's called The Cut Flower Garden. And
Who's it by?
It's by Erin Benzakin. She's a major flower farmer, but this is off of our normal. This is like a table book. It's a book that is it makes you creative. It makes you want to get outside and garden. It makes you want to cut the flowers you've grown. It makes you want to grow more. I'm a gardener, so it's something I just needed right now. I have a few other books on my shelf right now that I want to read, but I haven't started them yet. And I'm just kind of using this time to pause and reflect on nature a little bit more and through that book. What about you?
Yeah. I love tea today. It felt weird. So it's very warm.
It's very warm.
So it feels weird to be drinking a warm drink, but it's even more weird that I decided to go with orange and spice today.
I don't know that's
It's
that weird.
it's a Bigelow tea. Well, I think, okay, so a tradition for my family around Thanksgiving time is having oranges with cloves in it.
Okay.
And so I think oranges and cloves or spice, whatever, and that's like a winter holiday drink.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a strange one, but it's like jumped out to me. It has rose hips, spices, hibiscus, orange peel, roasted chicory in it. It's by Bigelow. Is that how you say it? Bigelow?
Yeah. Sure.
Bigelow?
It's how we say it.
I actually really like it. It's one of my husband's favorite teas, and he's not a tea drinker, but he has been
He's
transformed this past
coming.
year.
He's
coming
coming around.
to the dark side of my tea lovingness. So I'm excited about that. Reading, I can't remember what I've shared the last few times, but I finished an arc, which I don't remember if I talked about. I finished But by Blood, Shadow, and Fire by Orin Steele, which was phenomenal. That comes out in April. We will be talking more about that book. I also finished the first 2 volumes of the Unselected Journals of M.M. Lyon by Beth Brower, which I spoke about previously in other episodes. Love it. I'm on volume 3, almost done with it. Still rereading ACOTAR. I'm at the very end, which if you have read ACOTAR is a very like exciting part
Which book though?
Of the first
Okay.
A Court of Thorns and
Okay.
Roses.
Okay.
So that's fun. And then I am also still on my reread of A Stage Set for Villains, which
Okay.
I'm probably going to finish tonight. So by the time this is out, I've been long gone with it.
Yeah.
But
Worth mentioning.
it's even better on a second read. I want to read it a third time. I highly recommend that book.
I love this for you.
There's some things that I just think if they bring you that much joy, even if they're getting me further off the other stuff that I want to read, it's worth it.
Yeah. No, and that's the cool thing is like we're so different in that like it's not a bad thing or a good thing or whatever. Like you like to read, I'm like on to the next thing. And that's just who we are, which is so fun.
I love that too.
All right. So let's get into today's questions. You want to start first? We're going to be chatting about our spring episode. This is our spring episode. Like we said earlier, it's pre-recorded. So we're going to be talking and you're going to be listening hopefully during a spring break time.
Yeah. Well, so what's interesting is this episode is going to be a little bit different than our other solo episodes where we do have questions for each other, but then we also brought a bunch of books.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do questions and then lead in?
Yeah, let's do questions and then we'll lead into our recommendations or our shelf.
Yes. Okay.
Our spring shelf.
For the listeners, we will try and include all the books that we are talking about in the show notes.
Yes.
So you don't need to worry about going and grabbing a pen or pencil.
Yeah.
iPhone out.
Just
Whatever
screenshot or
yeah, we will discuss. Okay. Let's start with our first questions. This is so fun. I'm so excited to talk to you about this. It's springtime officially. By the time again that this episode releases, it'll have been spring for a few weeks, but we are excited about spring. When spring rolls around and people are getting outside more, do you notice a shift in what kids are excited to read? Are there certain books that just feel like spring that you love recommending this time of year? You can go off your list of ones that you want, or you can talk generally about people coming into the shop and what they're excited about.
So spring is actually a busier time for us. I mean, we've only been open for a year, but people tend to want to come in. People are often drawn towards anything and everything nature, which is kind of fun. And we've actually set up the store a lot of the times trying to highlight that or put that in the forefront of people. But just outside books on nature. We actually have hiking books for local areas in Modesto, up in the Tuolumne County area by local authors. We have some old school maps that people will grab just for funsies, very old school hiking style. And then the kids' books, a lot of the times people are drawn towards everything that's like spring related as far as growing plants or the stories behind growth for children. A lot of times spring is a good way for nature to show an example of how things take time and things grow. And sometimes things are dormant and then they wake up or changes. And as silly as it sounds, that's one of the things that kids are really good about taking in. They're really good about taking in lessons from books versus mom telling you da 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 da. When you read a book, you can relate it back to scenarios that are happening into their life and help them see. So spring's kind of fun in that way for me, that I see that a lot of the books remind us about the beauty of rest and waking up.
We live in a part of the country that doesn't have a lot of seasonal
Yeah.
differentiation, but for many of us, many people on this side of the United States and across the world, like there are vast differences. So here it's really nice to remind myself and our kids, of the idea that it's okay to rest and that the slow awakening of spring is a season in of itself. So just makes me really excited. I love that
Mhm.
idea. We are really close to Easter. If you were building the ultimate bookish Easter basket for a young reader, what would you include besides an actual book? Like, what are some fun little reading accessories or some bookish surprises kids might enjoy? I have some ideas too, if you want me to continue.
Yeah, I have a lot of really good ideas, honestly. This whole entire year for us, we've been really trying to remind people that slowing down and connecting with each other is way more fun than giving your child a tablet. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but just totally there's a time and a place. But for Easter baskets this year, we ourselves are doing card games. So, like mini card games, they're easy, they fit in a basket. Me and my husband talked about this recently. I love candy too, but I feel like my kids just go bonkers over the, like, mass volume of candy, and so I was trying to think of different ways I could fill their eggs, and we were gonna fill them with some flower seeds, like sunflowers
Love.
or pumpkin seeds and stuff like that, which is kinda fun because then they can use those seeds to plant right now. Obviously, I'm a gardener, so just, pushing that on my children, they love it too, though. One of the things we love to do too is the sensory dough in the baskets. Sensory dough is a super fun one. We have Kelsey who's here locally. We are usually throwing the dough in and it's a spring theme or it's got toys with it and it's a toy that the kids can use and connect with. And all of my kids' doughs that we've ever gotten through the years, my son is 9 now, is still lasting, still alive, smells amazing. It re-emulsifies, so that's a really fun one. And then just any kind of spring book. A lot of books or puzzles too are super fun things to throw in there because it's easy to get your kids like stuffies and stuff like that. But I usually try to think outside of the box so that there's something a little bit different in there. And I love those ideas. Or even just things that can help harness or what's the word when you want to promote whatever your kid is into. So like if your kid's into art, like a little pencil bag with some colored pencils
Mhm.
or just little things like that. I'm enjoying those kind of things right now for filling Easter baskets. What
You
about you?
you have the story stones too, which if you
Yeah.
haven't been to Storybooks and Toys, they have some story stones which
Yeah.
really foster creativity. My kids love them
Yeah.
to just have something to inspire them. Part of an art type thing where it's called the Endless Art Deck by Megan Roy, and I will make sure we include that in the show notes. But my art is one of the cards, but it's an art deck where it has different photos from different illustrators, and then on the back side it has different like colors and moods and things
Mhm.
to inspire you to create something. My nephews have it and they love going through it. We have it. But like you said, something that sparks joy outside of just throwing something at them, it gives them an opportunity to create. So that's what our themes generally revolve around things that they're going to use in the spring and the summer. We like to include some chalk for the summer because we like to create outside. We like to include sometimes swimsuits because it's that time of the year. Let's just be
That's
honest.
genius.
But some other ideas I had for bookish things were like I got these magnetic bookmarks from Storybooks and Toys
Yes.
for my kids,
Magnetic
and they love
bookmarks.
those because they do tend to lose other types of bookmarks, but these are pretty sweet. I've also seen people making these little mini books for their kids with photos, and I don't have a link to that at all. I literally saw it
We'll
online,
look it up and
but
I'll
we
link
will
it.
try and find something like that. But it's just cool because kids really love to see photos, not only of their family, but maybe of, certain
Yeah.
events or things that they've done, and just to have it in a mini little book that they can include is really cool. And then we also have been talking a lot about book journals. Our kids are not on Goodreads
Yes.
or Storyworth,
So, like,
not
giving your
Storyworth,
kid a
it's
book
something
journal
else.
so that they
They
can
can
note it
record
and
and they
what
can think about what their goal is for the year if they want to, or they can know what the names are.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun idea. And then we also these are not as great for the earth, but stickers.
Yeah.
Stickers are a big thing we put in eggs because our kids just love to decorate with stickers.
It's so true. It's so true. Stickers are fun though, and yeah, I don't know the impact of stickers on the planet, but I do want to say though, you mentioned the story stones. So the
Yeah.
story stones come from a really small company. They're not really small. They're a smaller company called Read Write Create, and it's two brothers who create it. They used to um actually work with Veggie Tales. Do you believe that I'm sorry guys if I'm getting this wrong, but I do believe that they wrote scripts and stuff like that. So the two of them have come together. They've created these awesome products. They are on the East Coast in Georgia. I hope I'm getting this right. And they connected with us. So we're the only store who has their product on the West Coast right now.
Wow.
And I've been
You're so
trying to
special.
tell more people about them. It is special though
It
because they
is.
promote that same kind of idea where so the story stones is a bag full of stones and the kids pull them out and they'll pull one or two bags and they have like different tutorials on how to do it. But I mean, if you've got a kid that says, "I'm bored all the time," this is such a like thing for them to learn to flex that muscle,
Right.
to flex that creativity muscle and try to figure something out and try to build something in their brain where they can come up with a creative idea, or even a kid that already has that muscle flex and wants to pull from different ideas. Maybe they need to get outside of their box. So the stones, they pull the stones and then they write a story based on the stones. So that is a super fun one. I'm really glad that you mentioned that.
Well, they're
So,
fun. I
yeah.
got them for Christmas, and the kids have really enjoyed it. And my kids are more into drawing than they are into writing, but I do think that it's just overall a creative and fun way for them to
Yeah.
kind of have fun, especially when you're getting into summertime and your kids aren't necessarily in school and they need a little bit more help.
Or even teachers to have them in the
Yeah.
classroom or homeschool families to have them.
Mhm.
It can just be a really awesome go grab your story stone bags and, write a little story or
Yeah.
whatnot, just as an opportunity to something else for kids to do
Mhm.
with their free time.
My next question is you shared something with me recently that said that kids age 9 to 13 often secretly wish that their parents would still read to them, but they're a little too embarrassed to ask. I asked my kids this. I have kids that are 6.5 through 10.5, and all three of them said that they would still love it, even though they all read on their own all the time. So it's something that's definitely true in my family. And maybe a lot more people do read every night with their kids, which we love.
Mhm.
So my kids are pretty proficient in the way that they read, and they are reading on their own every night. And so I haven't done it as much, but it's given me a little push. Anyway, my question is, what are some ways that families can keep reading together as their kids get older, in your opinion?
In my book selling opinion,
Yes.
I also will note when we first talked about it, you were like, "I don't know if that's so true." So I think it's actually really fascinating that you asked the kids and they said yes. Because I think that if I was a kid and my parents didn't read to me.
Yeah.
And I love my parents. They're great people, but they just didn't. And so I know how much my son, who's my oldest, loves me to read to him. So when I hear things like this, it's a thing that I have to remind myself because let me be honest with everybody right now. This is my least favorite activity of the day is reading to my kids. It's not that I don't like reading to my kids. It's that by 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, dude, I am done. I'm so done for the day. And so I get it. I get being taxed from work, chores, parenting, cooking, all this stuff.
Sports.
But I'm constantly reminded that one day they will not be there to tax me and I will have I remember thinking that I was busy in my 20s and realizing how busy I actually am now. But I also know that for every time I think that, I remind myself how busy I won't be when they're gone. Your question was, what are some creative ways to do that? Find books I like too. Because it's so hard for me to sometimes pick up a book and read to my kids, I try to level them up in a sense because my kids are 9 and 7. So I try to find a book that I know I'm going to enjoy or I might enjoy as well as them. So it's something we can bond over. A lot of the times I will tell my kids, okay, you pick a book. And my daughter will sometimes grab books and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't like this book," but I'm gonna read it to her anyways. But if I am, like, feeling a little bit taxed or I know I'm in a season where I don't have the energy to read to them, I try to ask them or all of us try to find a book that we all agree on because it makes me more inclined to be able to read it and to finish the story and also something new. So for me, I get if like, I can't reread a book a lot. We've talked about that. So, my son's in the middle of Harry Potter right now, and I've definitely reread Harry Potter, but, like, if I'm not in the mood for Harry Potter, which I know, gasp, how could you not be in the mood for Harry
Yes.
Potter? But sometimes I'm like, "Okay, let's pick how do you guys feel about this one or that one?" And sometimes I'll start reading it, my kids are like, "Oh, I don't know if I like it or whatnot." But that's the joy too, is even if they're not super on board, I'm on board, so I can push it, and we're pushing each other in a sense. They're pushing me to wanna read, and I'm pushing them to read outside of their box sometimes, and then together, usually, like, we come together as the story evolves because they're starting to enjoy the story, and I knew I'd enjoy it anyways, and then I'm grateful. I don't go to bed going, "Man, I wish I woulda read to them,"
Right.
because I can tell you there's so many times where my kids have gone to bed and I'm like, "Ugh, I wish I had like 15 more minutes of the energy that I've accumulated now to give back to my kids
Yeah.
when they're already asleep and that day is done." So, I just try to push myself. It's a hard thing to do though. It's not easy, when you've been going since 6 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
that at 8 o'clock at your night, you're like, "All right, let's read."
Yeah.
Because I wanna read for pleasure.
That's the thing. So a lot of times we'll do our reading right before bed. We'll set a timer because they have to read for so many minutes as part of their homework. And I'm either reading my book while they're reading, so we're all reading at the same time, or it's the only time of the day that I get to talk with my husband. And so we'll go into our room, they'll read in the living room, and we'll just chat while they're reading. And so we've gotten into that routine to where we're not really a part of it. So I need to push myself to be more a part of it. But I also think that we're doing other things too. Last night I played Guess Who with my daughter for
Aw.
like 3 rounds. We like to
I
play board
love
games.
Guess Who. Can we put
We have a pet one. It's cats and dogs.
oh,
It's so fun.
okay, put Guess Who in your kids'
Great.
basket.
We also like playing there's a game called Quicks. Have you ever
Okay.
heard of Quick?
No,
Okay,
but
it's super
I'm gonna
fun
look it up.
because it's adults like it,
Okay.
and then my 6.5-year-old likes it too. It's more counting with dice, but those are things that we're connecting on. So I am going to try more though to read more to them
I love that.
because we've gotten in a habit of not doing it as much. But
Yeah, it's true though. I mean, and I really try to emphasize that it is my least favorite thing to do.
yeah,
My husband loves reading to the kids. He'll read
Mm,
chapters and chapters and chapters, but he's also a firefighter who's gone. He has this he misses them, and I'm with them all the time. So
mm,
he really enjoys getting that one-on-one time with them, and so they love that. So I appreciate that when he's home, he can do that, and I can still get that break. But it's nice that we get to trade off. Oh,
100%
yeah.
makes sense. Oh, I am saying that now. Apparently,
Yeah.
there's a thing, guys. This is on the podcast. We say 100%. This might be a millennial thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a people
Sing it.
thing. Yeah. Why? If anyone has the answer, why and when did we start saying 100%? And why do we do it all the time?
I do the 100 on messages a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably also a millennial
This
thing.
is also my favorite emoji. Where at the like little
No one can see your hands. Lauren is holding
anyways.
her hands up like praise hands.
Praise
She wants to
hands.
praise-
Right. Anyways, let's keep
Anyway,
going.
number 4, my last question for you before I have some rapid fire is spring always feels like a reset season. Do you have any favorite ways that families can bring books into their spring routines, like reading outside, starting a new series before summer, making books part of your spring break? I just gave you some ideas, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on bringing it into springtime.
Yeah. Okay. So my ideas on bringing reading into springtime, and I may touch on this because this is a part of one of the questions. I am a go, go, go person, audiobooks.
Love, that's not where I thought you were going to go with this.
Yeah, I know. I'm also not the biggest fan of tech, but I also want to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
So oftentimes people get more active when you're busy, when you're gardening, when you're doing stuff. Audiobooks are awesome. We partner with Libro FM. I've started using their platform. I love it. They're amazing. I can tell you guys more about it at another time, but also find a spot outside like you're familiar with. So, for instance, find a park, find a shady tree, find a spot by the river, a spot by the lake, somewhere where there's maybe water flow, not in direct sunlight. I don't know why, but that's like when I'm reading and I'm in direct sunlight, it's like too hot and there's too much happening. But if I'm in shade or even dappled shade, there's something really cozy about it. So go somewhere different to read. I think that it's important to find a space that's different. I think when it's hard to read, people will be like, oh, I'm in a reading slump or whatever. I'm like, switch it up, do something different. I think that we tend to want to go read outside on our back patio, which I'm for that, or read out, maybe they go outside and read in a chair or whatnot. But there's maybe distractions that are happening. Go to a place that there's none of those. Go somewhere different where you're not pulled. For me, I live on a farm, so I can sometimes sit in the chair and not worry about things. But sometimes I'm sitting in the chair and I'm like, I need to be pulling those weeds. Our pool
Yes.
needs to be scrubbed, this or that. And
When you said that, I was thinking differently. I was thinking where you're not distracted because my first thought was Meg from the book club. I'm just mentioning you again.
Yeah.
She shared with me yesterday a place in Modesto. I think it's like Flora something. No,
Okay.
I'm going to get it wrong. Anyway, but it has this really nice back patio and
Mhm.
she's reading her book and it's got like the plants and it's got,
Yeah.
the shade and it looked so nice. And I thought, I can't remember the last time that I just went
Somewhere else.
somewhere else. I usually read in my house, in my backyard, sometimes at the park when I'm with the kids.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of making an event of it,
Yeah.
going
Or
somewhere
committed time.
or committed time to just sit and read. I've taken my kids to the cafe to read before after we pick up books from the library.
Mhm.
And I'm going to forewarn any parents, it doesn't last long. It's maybe 5-10 minutes because
Yeah, with your kids.
with your kids. But for yourself, I want to commit to more of that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's that, like I said earlier about flexing a muscle.
Yep.
Our children have grown up in a time of distraction and pull. There's something constantly pulling them, and they don't know what it's like to be bored, and they don't like it because it's so uncomfortable. So sometimes I tell my kid, like, we're big on timers in our household, and I'll be like, okay, guys, 30 minutes. And they're like, 30 minutes? 30 minutes is not enough time when they want to play a game, but 30 minutes is way too much time when they've got to sit and read a book. So I'm like, hey, guys, just 30 minutes when the timer goes off. And I'll say, don't ask me anything. We're all just chilling. You'll know because the timer's going to go off. Go somewhere different. Set a timer with your kids or just go somewhere different and set a timer for yourself too, because then it doesn't feel too daunting. I know if I set a timer for I say, Lauren, just sit down and read for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes. That's all. Just 10 minutes, whatever it is. And then I'm like, nope, focus, focus. And I'm flexing the muscle of just sitting down and chilling out.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned this because today is the day that our dear friend Jess from Lost Books of Jess launches her podcast, Fantasy Fan Reads.
Yes.
And the first episode came out March 24th. So by the time go back to it. But I was listening to it this morning and they were talking about their favorite cozy book reads. And her guest, Lexi, who's from Fantasy Fangirls, was mentioning how she got into reading cozy fantasy because she was reading a lot of books that kind of still like the high epic fantasy where there's battles and it's, kind of intense. And she said when she picked up a cozy book, it was just this calming breath of fresh air. And that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. Sometimes it's good to go out of your normal box. And if there's a book that doesn't feel like a breath of fresh air or like a cozy drink, not like a drink, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then maybe try something new and give yourself a timer of 15 minutes and say, hey, I'm going to try this and see how it makes your body feel. I think that's a really fun idea for spring too, to try something new, to, get back into your body, to have some time in nature. I love this idea.
I think people forget that habits they don't happen instantaneously.
Sure.
A lot of people will tell me, oh, I don't read. And you could say the same thing about anything. You could say, I don't work out. I don't do this. But if you try, you can. And I am someone who didn't read before, and I own a bookstore now. And that's because I know how amazing. I'm too hard, but I also know how amazing it is to read. And I feel like in the time that we live in, reading is something that is so special and so beautiful. And yeah.
I agree.
So,
okay, I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Do you want to do rapid fire now or at the end?
No, I want to.
Okay, she wants to rapid fire me now. Let's go.
You can go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Reading outside on a blanket or reading by an open window?
Outside I have an egg chair, not a blanket. I can't sit on the ground. My back hurts.
Do you get mosquitoes?
I mean, I live on a farm. There's like gnats, mosquitoes, flies.
That's nice. So I'm more partial to the window because sometimes I can't take it if a fly lands on me one more time.
But I'm a Leo, so like homegirl needs like a little bit of sun hitting me. It doesn't hit me the same through the window.
It's true. That's true. Rainy day reading or sunny park reading?
Rainy day.
Oh my gosh, you just said you needed the sun on you, though. I thought you were going for sunny park.
Well, okay, but if it's raining, I actually sit inside and open the window.
This is great. Spring picture books or spring middle grade adventures, if you had to pick one?
Picture books.
I love the illustrations in picture books. Although there is some great graphic novels for middle grade that are fun too, but I hear that. Flower-covered book covers or pastel book covers?
Like real flowers?
Like, if you were to sit here and you were thinking, okay, it's a pastel book or it's covered in florals?
It's florals, 100%, every time.
Love. Bookmark or a pressed flower in your book as your bookmark?
Both, because I do both.
You do?
I actually press flowers all the time.
Fun fact.
There's a pressed flower right over there. You can actually see the hitch in the book.
I don't see anything, but that's great.
Okay, it's okay. My eyes are better.
We have determined that Lauren has eagle eyes and I'm blind, even though I wear contacts. So.
I can read from across the room.
Good for you. Okay. Reading during spring break or reading on a road trip?
Both.
Bunny stories or garden stories? Fresh new book for spring or rereading a cozy favorite?
Well, fresh, always. You know me, I'm not a rereader.
I also feel like we need to go back to where you said both because you have to pick.
No.
That's the point of it.
But it's rapid fire, and that's my answer.
Rapid fire is supposed to be one or the other.
I know.
Okay, you got it.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have for you.
So my questions, are you a seasonal reader? For instance, do you read books set in the dead of winter when it's cold outside or a beach when it's summer? And do you even notice it? If so, is it hard for you to get into a book when the setting doesn't match your current settings?
I was just thinking about this the other day. Maybe because we were prepping for this, but I am not in general a seasonal reader. However, because of book club, I have started thinking about what I'm reading and attaching it to the season because we often are picking things more for season stuff.
Yeah.
So this past year, I have kind of started that and I do love it. I do love reading a witchy book in the fall. I did love getting into some holiday themed books in the winter, and I am really enjoying the idea of spring reading. So it's becoming something for me, and maybe that's what I'll evolve to. But in the past, I would read whatever.
Do you think that's because you're a big fantasy reader? Because fantasy is almost usually more about the action versus the season. Because also the world, like when you build a world, you can do whatever the heck you want with winter. Or not with winter, but the weather.
Yeah. So, my brain first went to when I first started getting really, really back into reading, it was all historical romance.
Okay.
And that is perpetually spring, summer, because they're
or rainy.
Some rain, yes. But like when they're in the season, think Bridgerton.
Yeah.
It's usually nicer weather and it's kind of lighter, and like they do bring in rain as sort of a catalyst of whatever hard thing is going on, right?
Yeah.
So I read a lot of those based on my mood of thinking, oh, I want something that's going to bring me up And when I do think fantasy, which is something obviously that I do read more, I'm always thinking it's a little bit darker, more gothic.
Mm.
And maybe I don't want to be reading that in the dead of winter when I'm feeling a little bit more like I got the
Yeah.
seasonal depression
The
disorder.
seasonal depression is
Right? But yeah, so I don't know if that answered your
Yeah.
question at all.
No, it totally did.
Great.
All right. Okay. Question 2. One of the things that I personally love about spring is the level of increased activity.
True.
It's like we're all like, okay, let's move. So when you shop at a bookstore in spring, or you go to a bookshop, or even the library, when you're out and about, do you gravitate towards any of the books or items that help facilitate being outside? Similar to your question that you asked me earlier. So bookshops tend to naturally stock their shelves to accomplish this type of reaction in customers. Do you fit this mold, or are you pretty avid about your genres and picks that you find yourself focused on, or say fantasy or historical romance? Do you even notice that the
Yeah.
library or the bookshops or the stores are
Historically, no. I haven't noticed, other than the fact that they decorate towards the season and there's more florals and there's more things, but I never really noticed the idea beyond gardening. I didn't really notice, like hiking and stuff. We're a very outdoorsy family. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up camping. I grew up hiking. So if you asked me what my favorite thing to do is, it would be being outside with my family. And so I never really think about, and what was your question of like, do I gravitate towards any sort of books?
or does it facilitate that ideology?
Yeah, I
You're already
haven't.
doing it?
Yeah, I haven't read a lot of books about getting outside. Like there's the 1,000 Hours Outside, which I think you had.
It's actually
It's
directly in
right
front
there.
of her.
It's right in front of me. I can't see.
She can't read it.
Which I have plenty of friends who have read,
Yeah.
but my ultimate goal every day is to be outside as long as we can. And so I've never really read a book that I probably should, because I think that it probably kind of backs up the natural tendencies that we have.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't really, other than, again, I like reading florally type books.
I would love to hear from our listeners how people feel about that, or even like Sherry, if they ever notice that their like stores were the original influencer.
Yeah.
Or
It's marketing, baby.
if they never even noticed it, which is, I'm curious because I think that some people don't notice it. We're so small, we have to seasonal.
Yeah.
Like I can't leave anything out that is like, if you go into Barnes and Noble, you can probably find a Christmas book right now.
Right.
You can probably find a book on Halloween. It's just the way it is. They have massive amounts of shelving, all that. Like I need stuff to come in and I need it to leave. So sometimes people will be like, oh, you had this book about hiking. And I'm like, girl, it's raining outside. I don't have a book about hiking right now. But anyways, I digress. I'll move on.
But I love that.
Yeah. So it's something we do. I'm actually curious though, to hear if like
Let us know.
people, let us know if you like that or if you even noticed it. Okay. Does your audiobook intake increase during warmer weather seasons, months? And how does that impact of being outside affect your ability to sit down and read?
I read more in general, which doesn't make any sense now in my brain, in the summer and the spring warmer months than I do in the winter. It's funny because I think maybe I just read all the time.
You do. I think as someone who reads very what is it called?
Seasonally?
No,
You're talking about me or you're talking about you? That's
talking
the
about
question.
me.
Sporadically?
Mood.
Mood. Okay,
Mood
good
reader.
vibes. Well,
Sometimes I'm not in the mood,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. So,
But if you are like an avid reader, you're just like reading as a part of your daily. But if you're a mood reader, your mood can kill your ability to read.
true. So I'll back up. For me, in the warmer months, and I'm probably listening to my audiobooks more because I'm going on more walks or walk runs. I love a good walk jog. So I have this app where it's really great. It's really ridiculous. This is not sponsored. This is not me saying go get the app, but it's like couch to 10K, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets you jog for a minute and then you walk for a minute and a half. And I love listening to books or podcasts while I'm doing that. And I generally do that when it's not raining because It's
Right.
not as enjoyable to run in the rain, even though I have done it a lot. So that's true. Then the other thing is that when it's nicer weather, my kids want to go to the park a lot more. And I'm just going to be flat honest, I am not always playing with my kids at the park. And a lot of times I will bring a book to read. Sometimes I'll bring work and I'll do my illustration stuff while they're at the park. But I love me reading outside. It's just a fantastic, it brings to like all of this wonderful joy. I can feel the sun, I can feel the breeze, I can read my book, and then I can see my kids playing, and that's like the best thing in the world. So for those reasons, I think that the warmer weather does bring out a lot more reading in me. But at the same time, if it's cold and rainy and I can have a nice cup of tea and be under a cold blanket, I would love to
Oh, you
read
mean a warm
too.
blanket?
A
Yeah.
cold blanket, yeah.
Cold.
I want to be cold.
I want to be under that cold
Yes, a warm
blanket.
blanket.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do read around the clock, and I don't think that if
Moods
I
or
do have a
weather.
mood, it makes me read. I read a lot when I feel anxious. I read a lot when I feel sad because it brings me joy. So it's more of the thing that's my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just reading a lot.
I think that's fun because everybody reads differently, and I think it's important to highlight that.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to
Totally.
be influenced by, oh, I read, 8 books or whatever, this is my reading style. There's no right or wrong. There's no
Mhm.
wrong way of doing it. There's no right way of doing it. We're all just doing our own thing.
Well, and it's true. And I'm glad you say that too, because I'm reading, I'm also not doing other things. I have so much FOMO and I miss out on a lot of people's conversation on movies and TV shows and other things kind of going on in the world because instead I'm reading.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what sometimes pop culture stuff people are talking about. I'm very much like, who?
Which
What?
is funny because I would
That
say
happened?
you're pretty hip. Let's get into our books. I think it'll be fun. Let's go. You can go first. You go through your
Oh,
book
yay.
list. We're going to go through a book list for everybody. Like we said, we'll link this in the show notes, but we're going to just talk about a bunch of books that Sherry loves for spring and I love for spring because she brought them. I did not, and I own the bookshop. I have one, but
that's great.
Yeah.
You know what? After you were talking about gardening too, I have a book that is actually on a shelf in my living room because it's beautiful and it's like a seasonal book, and I wish I would have brought that, and I don't even know the name of it. So next time I will talk about it. But anywho, I had my kids go through our books. We've got 2 or 3 bookshelf or books spots in our house, and I said, can you come bring me some picture books? Can you come bring me some middle grade books? And then I thought about some adult books. So I have them separated. So the first book is actually a book from my childhood.
Yes.
It's called Not Easy Being a Bunny. That is by Marilyn Sadler, illustrated by Roger Bolin. If you've never read this book, I highly recommend it. I kind of wish this episode was coming out before Easter so that people could have...
Yeah, that's a good book. That character in general is in other books. And such a good lesson for children.
It's such a good lesson.
Such a good
but
lesson
it's also
for kids.
just so fun, and the illustrations are really cool, and it's got it's just, I don't know, one of my favorite books from when I was growing up.
Excellent. Do you want me to take them from you while you...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, we're going over here. Okay, my next book is Erin Slater Illustrator, which this is the cover if you can see it on YouTube. But if you cannot, it's just all of these illustrated flowers. This is part of a series. So Erin Slater Illustrator by Andrea Beatty, illustrated by David Roberts. She has all of these ones that are rhyming names. And see, told you my family writes in our books. They are all so fun for kids. They talk about the different types of things that they could be. So there's now I can't remember any of them, but there's also a TV show, I think, based on this. This one in particular is about a kid who wants to be an illustrator. There's Rosie wants to be an engineer or something like that.
So there's multiple books from this. It's a series.
Yes.
And that one makes sense that you would have it. There's sports ones too.
Yeah.
So each of the kids have their own talents, and I feel like it's almost their journey to discovering who they are.
Yeah.
In a way.
And really, like you said, you were talking about it earlier, how can we foster what's already happening inside? How can we help that grow?
Yeah.
So that we love this book. Another one is kind of on the camping. Hattie and Hudson by Chris Van Dusen. This is a Loch Ness Monster book, but it just reminded the kids of being outside and camping and canoeing, even though Spoiler, my kids have actually never been camping in a tent, but they love the idea of it. We have camping toys. It just hasn't happened yet. So anyway,
They love the idea of it.
this is so fun, and it's actually like kind of a longer book where they have more words in it, but it has fantastic illustrations. So anyway, I really like that book for spring.
Can I pause you?
Yes.
Chris Van Dusen makes some of my favorite books. And maybe we can have him on the podcast one day because I know someone that knows him. And
Let's do it.
I read his book, the circus book, for our 1-year anniversary. So he's
poignant.
Yeah, he's so good, and I love that. And because we're actually bringing in this book for spring. I may even have it on the shelf, but this was because we bring stuff in seasonally.
Yeah. So this book might be or is going to be that story.
Yeah.
Cool. My last picture book is called You Are a Honeybee, which bees, spring just felt right. My kids got this as part of the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which if you have a kid under 5, you can sign up and they send you a free book every month. So this is one of the ones that we got. This is by Lori Ann Thompson, illustrated by Jay Fleck. It's just a really cute book about bees. And fun story, my middle child, her middle name is Bee, which is actually after my grandma Beatrice, but we called her Bee. And so we always, if there's a bee of anything, we're like, oh, it's JoJo Bee. Anyway.
That's cute.
Love. I have a few middle grade books from my son that helped out. One of them is the Zoe and Sassafras series. If you have never read Zoe and Sassafras, it's really fun. It's this little girl who loves doing like experiments, scientists type stuff, and she has this magical door and she finds all these characters. There's a bunch of different books, but it's just really fun because she's out in nature with like magical things and she's doing science, and we love Zoe and Sassafras. And then I also have Pixie Tricks, which is another series that's kind of, I wouldn't say middle grade, but like first chapter books. They are cute, illustrated early chapter books that help your kids grow. My son and my daughters loved these, so I recommend them. I haven't said who they're by, but we will make everything in the show notes. And then the last one I have is the Once Upon a Tim series from Stuart Gibbs. My son also really, really enjoyed this, and he might have purchased this one from here.
We have a lot of Stuart Gibbs books.
But he really, really enjoyed this, and he just felt like it was springy because I think they had like some outdoorsy type things. So he's super into that. And the last one, it's a book for...
This is so fitting for Sherry and her birds.
A little book of backyard bird songs. And if you can hear it, it gives you bird songs. My kids are really into this. I think this was given to us as a gift, and I'm trying to see if it's by Andrea Pennington and Kaz Buckingham. The thing that I really like about this is that it fostered us to get the kids, it gave us the idea, pushed us to get binoculars, and so we'd go on hikes and look for birds, and so the kids would really, really get excited about seeing the birds in the book, and then seeing some in our backyard. And then if they're not in the book, then we look them up. And I just think that that's really fun for spring.
This is the most Pacific Northwest thing
is it?
I've seen you do. Yes, and I mean that in the utmost compliment. I
thought this was normal that everybody does.
No, this is the kind of book that someone who grew up in the Pacific Northwest would totally have. We live in the Central Valley, and it's like almond farming, and there's plenty of birds, but it's not like the mountains. I grew up in the mountains.
That's true.
And we would see so many variety of creatures.
Right.
And out here, you could see them once you notice them, but it's really easy to miss them because you can be easily distracted by hustle, bustle, towns, all that kind of stuff. So I don't mean that in an offensive way at all. I love this book. I think it's beautiful. I can actually see the artwork on it is beautiful. It looks like artwork, or maybe, I'm not sure.
Well, and I'm just showing my age again, where I have gotten to really, really love seeing the birds, to where we got one of those clear bird feeders that you stick on your sliding glass door so the birds can come all the way up to you. I am this close to convincing my husband to get me one of the ones that have the video so you can see
I don't know what the problem is. Come on.
How fun would it be that we can have our little bird friends just come and we can see them? So anyway, I'm into birds.
Wait a second though. Shout out to Mindy at the shop who has a video
the bird watch
of a bird watch. Is she like in front of her store? And what did they have?
They were really cute little, I don't remember.
Was it a robin?
They
had
little
robin eggs.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you could watch if you want to go to the shop on 3rd, check out Mindy saying maybe we'll get some babies this spring.
That was so special.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, shout out to Mindy. Okay, what else you got for books?
Okay, so now I'm moving on to adult books, which none of them I have with me because I didn't have a chance to do that. But if you haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you're not even into spring or you're not into, it's just a fun. The first book is kind of loosely based off of Beauty and the Beast with the spring court. So that just felt like I needed to plug it. Also, Bridgerton series, which we talk about, is just the wisteria, the spring of the ton. It just feels like everybody's coming out of there getting excited. So I have to plug those because, yes. Also have to plug the Unselected Journals of M.M. Lyon because that's what I've been reading, and it feels very spring. She's out and about in Regency, London.
Beth Brower, way to go.
Yes, love that one. So here's some that I haven't talked about in a while. This is a book called Wicked and the Wallflower by Sarah MacLean. She's one of my favorite historical romance authors. She has a series where they're called the Bare Knuckle Bastards. There are these men who rule the dark side of London. And then there's this girl who's the quote unquote wallflower who is on the shelf because she's only a few years into her debut of the season. And there's nefarious things happening, but it's just so poignant that it's, again, in London. She's the wallflower. He's this dastardly guy. There's love. It's fun. You would enjoy it. Lastly, I'm going to include The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst, which comes out in April.
We have special editions coming
which
in
is
store.
I didn't know this, but I want one. I got it on an
Sprayed edges.
Good. All Sarah Beth Durst's books are so cozy and fun.
So cozy.
Her first book, The Spell Shop, has a spider plant that is the sidekick. They're just wonderful. I forgot I also included this one. Is She Really Going Out with Him by Sophie Cousins is a great audiobook, but also book in general. And it just reminds me of spring for some reason because it's kind of nicer weather and she's going on dates. It's this single mom who is going on dates and hilarious stories. You'll laugh out loud. Like I said, I listened to it on audiobook.
Yeah,
and
I feel like you've talked about this book before too.
I don't know. I started listening to it last spring when I was painting my house, and I just couldn't stop laughing. So it gives me spring vibes.
I'll check the show notes because I'm pretty sure I've also, or you've talked about Sophie Cousins books.
Yes, she also has the one that just came out in November.
Maybe that was it.
Which I think was the one that I was talking about.
That's okay.
But those are my books. Yeah. You tell me what you've got, girl. I'm excited.
I am the flip side of this coin.
Yes.
Which is why we're fun, because there's a little bit of something for everybody.
We're dancing.
Okay, so I'm going to start out with kids' books. I'm going to talk about Lori Eager's book, In Papa's Garden, which is, I don't know if you've seen this book before. She's a local author, lives in Lodi. During the pandemic, she did watercolor. She put it together as a book. It is one of the most beautiful books I have ever seen. I also am a huge fan of watercolor books in general. This book is so fun, and she was actually behind the scenes able to send it off to a publishing company, and they said, hey, no, this isn't to get a children's book published. It is incredibly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reason her book should not be sold by a major publisher, but she is selling it herself. We have sold so many copies of it. People love it. So one of my favorites. But anyway, she sent it off to the publisher. They gave her some tips. So what she did is it's a alphabet book, and each of the letters as you go through the alphabet is a bug, and it's through the garden and all these different bugs, which is hilarious because I press anybody to try and figure out a bug name for every letter of the alphabet. That she did it. And then at the end, she has this whole page, which is a surprise of all the different bugs that are in the garden. And it's this wonderful thing. So beautiful book. Love it. Amazing watercolor artist. Shout out to Lori. We'll be bringing more of those this spring. Next, we have, for me and my suggestions, Heartwood Hotel by Callie Gorge. And then the Sophie Mouse collections by Poppy Green. For me, anytime there's a book that's kid animals, any of that stuff, Nature, I think spring. Spring, 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 spring. And then after that, adult fiction, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I love Carly Fortune. I don't know if you've ever read any of her books. All of her books make me feel like spring, all this stuff. It's fantastic. When I think of spring, I remember going to the lake with my best friend, and we would go to the houseboat and all that. So anytime water is in a book, I'm thinking spring. I don't know why. Maybe it's subconscious. So Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and then The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, which just came out. This lovely guy. It's probably backwards, but anyways, honestly, such a cute book. Loved it. I don't want to say too much. I think people should read it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun book. I love the romance in it. It's contemporary. I'll say it wasn't too smutty, which was kind of refreshing. And I don't say refreshing like it's a bad thing, but I was just like, it was so character driven and so character deep, which I love that. And then I'm just going to go through, I actually have some nonfiction books on here, which is kind of fun. So for me, when I think about spring, I think about getting outside. My favorite podcast, Ginny, You're Rich. I apologize if I'm saying this wrong. 1,000 Hours Outside. Shout out to my bestie buddy, Brittany, who taught me about it. But she's written a few books. And one of her books that I love is called Until the Streetlights Come On. And it says how a return to play brightens our present and prepares kids for an uncertain future. I think parenting right now, like everybody needs something like this. So it's called Until the Streetlights Come On. And then another one of her books is just 1,000 Hours Outside Activities to Match Screen Time with Green Time. So getting outside, that's packed full of a ton of fun stuff. And I love her podcast. She makes me feel like I'm not crazy. Thank you, Jenny. She's such a doll. Honestly, I love listening to her. Another one, which is a really fun one. This one is actually not as much of a book as it's like just a thing. Love getting outside, but I also have a Peloton bike. I love my Peloton. There is an instructor. Her name is Hannah Corbin. She is a Peloton instructor who did this book, and it's like cards on stretching, and it's a whole thing. And it's so fun because I think about the peace and the quiet of spring. And instead of, like, I'm going to do fitness, I'm going to go run a mile. I love the idea of instead of just getting out and running a mile, just stretching first. Instead of just jumping into it, slowly letting your body wake up and connect. And so I just love that one for spring. And then I talked about a little bit ago, The Cut Flower Garden by Erin Benzikin. She is not only an amazing teacher, author, grower, she has the most beautiful flower photography I think I've ever seen, and it's why she is who she is. People in the flower industry know her well. She sells her seeds, ton of test stuff, but she makes gardening and flowers easy, and I love flowers. She talks about smells.
You just hit on something for me.
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you a
No,
shot.
I've awakened a sense in Sherry.
You're talking about flowers so much, and I was thinking about one of my favorite things for spring, and I didn't even include it. Can I interject
Yeah,
really
go,
quickly?
please.
There is a person on Instagram
Okay.
named Sarah Simon, and she is known as the Mint Gardener.
Okay.
One of the people that I look up to in the watercolor world. I've done a bunch of her things. I've recipe tested for her books. She has watercolor books. She was one of the first people to do this, where it is actually printed on watercolor. She has the instructions on one side, and then she has beautiful florals or other things printed onto watercolor paper so you can paint in the book. It's like an adult coloring watercolor.
Oh, I love this.
It's beautiful. And she also does this thing, if you're into art and things like that, where on her story she has a daily drawing, and it's photos from her garden.
Oh,
She takes pictures and then they draw it, and they do daily drawing with Sarah Simon. She's the Mint Gardener. And that just made me think of it because she takes beautiful photos of her.
yes.
They're flowers you've never even seen before.
Yes.
And then creates it into something. But it's also a book, and she has 3 books.
I love that.
And so we're going to have to include those.
We're going to
in the show
include
notes.
those, and I'm also going to bring those into the store because that sounds like
They're
something people
beautiful.
would love.
My
Yes.
name's in the back as a recipe tester, too.
I don't know why Sherry didn't mention this
Oh my
earlier,
God,
you guys.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Deliciously Ella. Healthy, made simple, delicious plant-based recipes in 30 minutes or less. I found her through watching Zac Efron's Down to Earth. And it's a show, and he met with her, right?
She saw
obviously.
my blank stare that I'm like, yeah, I don't know
what
that
is.
one.
I hyper consume vegetables during the spring. the peas, fresh carrots, root like I love beet salad with goat cheese. I love kale.
I love kale.
With like warm honey balsamics and candied walnuts. I just love
recipes.
vegetables during the spring. And I might be, someone's probably like, as they're listening, they're like, no way, Jose.
Get out of here.
The fun thing about her cookbook is she's a vegan. And I figure if you don't like vegetables, go to the source of someone who is cooking with vegetables 24/7. They are going to figure out how to make vegetables taste good. She's got this amazing gnocchi recipe with sweet potatoes, so many good things. And I feel like just alive with all the fresh fruits and veggies and all that stuff. So I love her cookbook for spring because it makes me get creative with all that stuff. Another thing too is sometimes when you garden, you just have this abundance and you're like, what do I do with all this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And instead of letting it go bad, it's a great opportunity to open a cookbook, especially this cookbook, and do something with all those vegetables because they are perishables and they go fast. And then lastly, I want to talk about the food forward garden. I'm a gardener. Everybody knows this by now. If you weren't listening the last 30 minutes, now you do. This is called the Food Forward Garden by Christian Douglas. This gentleman is based out of San Francisco, which I love finding books locally, but also gardeners locally. Aaron Bensiker is from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, cool.
I don't even think they water during the summer, and that is a problem we do not have. And I'm like, the amount of which I need to drown my plants to keep them alive here. So I appreciate this book. This book is so much better than Pinterest. I just want to say really quickly, as much as I used to love Pinterest, I can't go there now without finding an ad for Amazon, and it drives me nuts. So this book is beautiful. It tells you it just makes gardening gorgeous. Like, look at this.
Very,
dried
very pretty
flowers.
photos.
He's got you can grow your own garlic and then braid it, and just different ways to plant your landscape. So he's on Instagram as the Backyard Farm Co., and he's an award-winning landscape designer. I love his book. I love all of his stuff that he does. I live on a farm, so I've got acreage that is either covered in weeds or looks really beautiful. So for me, it's like a part of my soul to make things look pretty and all this stuff. So he gives me creative ideas for that. So that is my list.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't think we've ever actually talked about this, but I took a master gardener course because I was really into gardening at one point.
I love that we don't know each other well enough to know all these fun facts.
But I really, really, really loved it because it opens up your mind. There's so many resources, and this is a free course that you can take. And I'd have to link to it, but
yeah,
it was like on a Zoom call you could take videos, or there was like a live situation too, which is cool.
I know locally in Modesto, they have it. It's like Tuesdays or something like that, but it's I feel like it's like an 8-hour class.
They even meet, actually, I think they have some at the Oakdale Library.
Oh, okay.
Have Master Gardeners come out, because that's it's a thing. It's so cool, but also it made me think about, there's a few books that they mentioned that we have at home too, that I did not go this route when I was going mostly fictional, but I think that that's just such a fun thing to do with your kids too. We planted a lot of things when I took that class, and we looked at a lot of books, and for the kids to see, like you said, the spring growth and the process, and then cookbooks in order to cook some of the food. When we got our first amount of, I was drowning in zucchini and squash the first year.
Yes.
And there are so many fun things that you can do that you could freeze too.
Or I love taking a vegetable and making it a carb.
Yeah. Get after it.
Yeah, I'm actually staring at the California Master Gardener's Handbook right now.
We have that, and you have that here.
I have it here in the store because I think, honestly, like I've said before, I think books are such a natural resource for educating yourself beyond YouTube. Like, we live in a YouTube era. There's so many great things you can learn on YouTube. But I can tell you, as someone who's read gardening books, I've absorbed so much more than if I had just watched
and the
tips.
photos and the way that it's designed, just from creative perspective,
explanations.
They're so fun, and with your kids to have them get into it. We went on a long tangent at one point about how my kids like to get cookbooks from the library.
Yeah,
and it is a really fun thing to try things, even if you don't want to, necessarily purchase, to get yourself involved in new hobbies or interests.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire around you really quick before.
Oh, you have rapid fires too?
Yeah, I have rapid
goodness.
fires, but they're up here,
They're in your
everybody.
brain?
They're in my brain. Okay,
Oh my
ready?
gosh, I'm impressed.
Hot or iced tea?
Hot.
Okay. Indoor plants or outdoor plants?
Indoor.
Walking or swimming?
Oh,
It's not a test.
it is a test because it depends on what time of year, because I don't want to
Or
walk
spring,
outside when
spring.
it's hot.
It's
Okay,
spring.
I like to walk.
Okay.
When it's really hot, though, I like to be in the pool.
Salad or bread?
Salad.
Okay.
I have a kale rainbow salad that you said you liked kale, and it's got this like lemon vinaigrette on it, and it's delicious.
We need to swap kale recipes because I have a kale recipe that I'm like, nothing touches my kale recipe.
We're gonna have a battle of the kale.
Yeah, we'll have a kale cook-off. If anyone wants to come, let us know if you're into kale too.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I think this is going to wrap up our spring episode.
Oh,
this has been a ton of fun. I hope everybody can enjoy some of the books that we suggested, maybe, or maybe not, or just pique their interest just a little bit.
Yes.
So,
and if there is something that you have a question of, or if there's something that you want to share with us, always feel free to connect with us on our Gmail. We have here for the podcast at Gmail, or here for the story podcast at gmail.com. That will be in the show notes. We do have a few things going on in April. You have the book crawl for story. Lessons in Chemistry book club night is April 14th.
Yep.
And I also have a workshop coming up in April, on April 23rd. I'm going to announce more of that on my Instagram coming up, but it's a free workshop for creatives, and I will share that info later.
Yes.
So keep an eye out if you're creative and you want more info.
Yeah, so feel free to reach out. Also, feel free to share our podcast if you love it. You can share it, or you can write us a review. And I hope that everyone enjoys a wonderful spring break, that they get refreshed, refueled, and reset. So
thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you for spending time with us, and happy reading.
Happy reading. Bye.